So how to manage your EMI scheme. So today, oh, I don't like it when pictures of myself jump up. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look at EMI. We're going to talk about keeping the HMRC happy and the best way to manage your scheme. So first of all, EMI, Enterprise Management Incentives. EMI is the UK government-backed option scheme. It's aimed at SMEs. Now, an option scheme is the right to buy a share for a predetermined price at a predetermined point in the future. It's incredibly tax efficient. It helps the company, but it also helps the employees. So how do options work? So rather than issue shares, if you give someone equity in your business, they hold equity in your business. So if you gave me 10% of your business today and I decided to not work for you anymore, I would still own 10% of your business. So you can give options. Now that's the right to exercise, to buy, turn those options into shares at a predetermined price, at a predetermined point in the future. So there's nothing to pay up front, but you do have to buy the options at the value they're at today. The reason for that is you cannot give someone something of value without there being a tax consequence. So let's just say we value the business at £1 million and you give me 10% of that business. You just give me 10%. Fantastic. It's £100,000 worth of equity. The very first thing that happens is HMRC send me a £45,000 tax bill for immediate payment because it's your income tax. You've just given me £100,000 worth of income. So you set that price up front, right? In 5 years' time, after you've worked for me for 5 years, as an example, you have the right to buy these options for £1, regardless of what they're worth at that point in the future. You can set it up so that they can be exercisable at any time. So, you know, the conditions can be anything you want as long as they're measurable and tangible. Or it could simply be, when I sell the business, these options will convert and you will get a lump sum. So your options are incredibly popular, but it depends what your circumstances are, what your plans are for the future as to what you're going to do. So if we look at EMI options. So say we do the valuation, we value them at £1. So the exercise price, you have to buy them for £1. And we're saying this is an exit only. So essentially, fast forward 5 years and you sell the business for £10 a share. So I get that £10. £1 comes off because I have to buy the option to turn it into the share. I'm left with a £9 gain. I pay 10% capital gains tax on that. So I qualify for business asset disposal relief through the EMI scheme. So I just walk away with £8.10 per share. It is the most tax efficient thing you can do for your employees. So it's 10% capital gains tax on the first £1 million. So if I was lucky enough to get £1.5 million, I would get 10% capital gains tax on the million, and then 20% capital gains tax on the 500,000. So, you know, business asset disposal relief means that you're actually paying half of what the capital gains tax is. I mentioned tax efficiencies for the company. The company can offset the gain that the recipient makes. That's the incentive for the company to do it. So we've got some questions in. So what are the rules, if any, around company valuation? So when you're doing an EMI valuation, it has to be approved by HMRC. So we're doing about 85 of these a month at the moment. So we're actually looking for the lowest possible value. This is a share scheme valuation, not a company valuation. We're looking for the tax point. So you can also discount an EMI valuation. You can discount it for several factors. If you've had EIS or SEIS investment, you can discount that because it's not full risk investment. If you've had any family and friends investment, you can discount that because it's not at arm's length. And if you're giving less than 15%, then you can discount that because it's a minority shareholder. Who can do it and when should it be done? There's certain eligibility criteria around EMI that we're going to come on to next. So just move on to that. So EMI options are much, much better than unapproved options. You can see here, that, with EMI, they're going to walk away with essentially £8.10 per share, whereas with the unapproved options, they're going to get £4.95. So it's incredibly different with tax. So EMI is the most tax efficient thing you can do. 9 out of 10 customers say that EMI's helped them to recruit, retain, to grow, and to develop. The three main reasons you would use an option scheme or a share scheme: to recruit, to retain, to reward. You want to, recruitment is incredibly expensive. Retention, if you lose someone, it's incredibly expensive to recruit to bring them back. And you have to reward them for being with you and helping the company to grow. So the compliance around EMI. Eligibility, as we mentioned there are certain industries that are not allowed to do it. Banks, lawyers, accountants, property developers, domestic care home operators, hoteliers, farmers, market gardeners, and shipbuilders. Quite a strange list, but they're not allowed to do EMI. Eligibility, you have to be a full-time UK-based employee to receive EMI. Full-time is classified as either 25 hours a week, 75% of the working time. It always has to be granted in the top company, cannot be in a subsidiary. You've got to have fewer than 250 staff, less than £30 million in assets. You cannot be controlled by another organisation. You cannot grant more than £250,000 or 30% of the company to any individual. And the maximum amount of time it can run is 10 years. Now, when should it be done? As early as possible. That gives the people the most to gain. People who get EMI tend to be key early employees who've taken the risk and joined you. So they've got the maximum reward, but also the business has got the maximum to offset. And it's all about giving people sort of the sense of ownership, giving them skin in the game. Marginal decisions are taken every day, hundreds of them. If you've got that sense of ownership, it really helps to help develop the company. I have options, EMI options, invested. And that really helps my motivation, really helps my retention. You can go in and see what they're worth, which is something we'll touch on later. But 50% of all existing EMI schemes are not compliant. They've failed to keep up with the reporting. They've set things up incorrectly. That's the whole point of the vested platform, is to make sure it's all set up correctly and stays in compliance. The sad thing about that is these people aren't aware that their EMI scheme is uncompliant. It's only going to be when they try and pay the 10% capital gains tax at the end, and they'll probably find themselves paying 45% because the reporting has not been kept up. And that's the vested platform writes all those reports for you. So it's 4 stages of doing an EMI. First one I mentioned, the HMRC approved valuation. So it's agreed with HMRC, and it's then there. That's the exercise price. That's what they're going to pay for the next 10 years. You've given me options valued at £1. 10 years' time, the company's worth £10. I've got made a £9 gain because I'm only paying for that £1 that we have agreed with HMRC. The option pool, with everything to do with equity, you have to follow the Companies Act of 2006. A written board resolution with 100% approval. Everyone on the board has to agree. And it's a written shareholder resolution with 75% approval. We're a digital company, so we do it digitally. I click 2 buttons. In real time, an email goes out to the board. So you pass this written board resolution to create an option pool of X. Everyone clicks yes on the email. Platform automatically passes it and automatically generates and sends out the written shareholder resolution to all the voting shareholders. You pass this written shareholder resolution to do this. People click yes on the email. As soon as the 75% threshold has been met, the platform will pass it and the platform will update Companies House, because the vested platform has 2-way integration with Companies House. We then design the scheme. It's legal contracts. We have a scheme designer. It's 23 multiple choice questions. Is it exit-based for exercise? Well, what are the vesting conditions? What are the good leave and bad leave clauses? And we can guide you through all of this. But essentially, the platform writes the legal contract from the multiple choice questions. And the last stage, we then create, send, and manage the EMI option agreements. So we design the legal contracts. They're sent to the individuals. The individuals electronically accept it. And then the management is the reporting that I mentioned previously. About 50% are no longer eligible. The reporting is you have to do an initial notification within 92 days. You have to do an annual notification every July the 6th. You have to issue the options within 90 days of an HMRC approved valuation. The platform manages all of this, writes these reports for you, makes sure that you are always kept in step. Also, vested. We're an FCA accredited business. We are the only FCA accredited digital management platform. We manage your equity from end to end. This is all we do. We are subject matter experts. So, key things to remember. The EMI valuation, you have to fill in a Val 231 form. So we write your valuations for you. As I mentioned, we're doing about 85 a month. We'd return those to you along with a Val 231 form. Okay. You have to sign it as an officer of the company and send it to HMRC. It's all done via email. You have to do an annual submission to HMRC. I mentioned you've got to notify HMRC of any changes. That is the initial notification, and then if someone's left or the company exits, if a sale occurs, the platform writes all these reports for you so that they can be filed to always keep you within your eligibility criteria. I mentioned the 4 stages there, the valuation, the creation of the option pool. Now, it might not just be an option pool, that you might need to do a subdivision. So if you've got 1 share, you can only give away 100% of the company. If you've got 10 shares, you can only give away 10% increments. So if you've got 100, you can only give away 1%. So typically you would subdivide it to something large, 100,000, $1 million. We're not changing the value of the company. We're just moving the decimal point. If you've got 1 share at £1 and we subdivide it to 10 shares, it's 10 shares of 10 pence each, still £1. 100 shares, 100 shares of 1 pence each, still £1. 1,000 shares of 0.1 pence. We're just moving the decimal place. The reason you would do that is it gives you more flexibility with the amount that you're going to give. So you're not giving away too large amounts. So all of that is done via the corporate governance, the written board resolutions, the written shareholder resolutions. So you need to ensure that the shares vest correctly over time. Now, time is the most common condition because you can't argue with time. If you say to me, Chris, I'm going to give you 10,000 options over a 4-year period, you get 2,500 per year. I get 2,500 per year. There's no arguing with that. It's set in stone. It doesn't have to be that. It could be KPIs. It could be, Chris, if you bring in £1 million worth of business in the next 5 years, when you bring in £1 million, you get the right to exercise your 10,000 options. Now, use the platform as your legal share register. We manage your cap table with the 2-way integration with Companies House. Everything is included. Okay. It ensures that your fiduciary duties are correct as well. So, when your confirmation statement's due, the platform will email you and say, your confirmation statement's due. Is this still your correct cap table? You click yes. That's your confirmation statement file for the year. If your person of significant control, if their threshold changes, the platform will email you and tell you that you need to change it, which you do on the platform. Add and remove directors. Update your, change your address. It's all there. So resources, we've got guides, FAQs, blog pieces, webinars, all on EMI. So, if you go into the vested website, you can go through the EMI checklist. It's very simple. You can always book in a free call with myself, and we'll send out a link to my diary, and you can book directly in with me. So all of those materials are free to use, to have a read. But I would encourage everyone to just book in directly into my diary, and we'll just have a chat through it. We'll talk about your individual circumstance. So EMI is about making it as simple as possible. So as I mentioned, you've got the cap table, all the movements, the scenario modeling, we can create new share classes, the cap table, that is all there. That's all included. The traditional way to do this is to involve lawyers and accountants, which can be very complex and can get very expensive very quickly. With it vested, we create the EMI scheme, you manage the pool, you can view your cap table, you get all the HMRC submissions and notifications, build vesting schedules, exercise shares, dynamic dashboards, review and electronically accept option agreements. It's all in one place. Even if you're going to take on investment, you can issue all of those shares on the platform. So Rishi's put the link to my diary there, so you can just book in for half an hour directly with me, and we can sort of go through your company individually. I'm at events for the rest of this week, but next week just book in and we'll have a chat through and just go through absolutely everything. Now, book a free consultation. Now, what I'll do is, let me quickly stop sharing this. And what I want to show you is the actual platform, because for me, one of the key things about the platform is what the employee sees, so that they understand, so that they are motivated. So let me just share something slightly different. There we go. So this is the platform. So you have the live dynamic cap table. Okay, different share classes, the breakdown of the ownership. As I mentioned, you can do investment round modeling, create new share classes, apply for your SEIS or EIS advance assurance, issue shares, stock transfers, buybacks, add and remove directors, update the people of significant control, change your address, file your confirmation statements. But if we actually look at the option agreements, and we'll pick on Rowena price. This is what the employee sees. This is where they get to log in and see something. I first got given options about 10 years ago now. And I signed a 20-page legal contract on my first day. I had no idea what it was. It was just a scary legal contract that lived in my desk drawer. It didn't retain me. It didn't motivate me. As I say, I tried not to think about it. It was just really scary. So this is what the employee sees. That's the actual legal contract, which I won't click into because it's just a legal contract. But you can see here, Rowena's got 10,000 ordinary options that were granted yesterday. She's getting them over a 3-year period. So the vesting schedule is here. So these vest over a 3-year period, and after 3 years, she's got all 10,000. Now they've chosen monthly, which I really like, because every month she gets an email. You've got another 277, you've got another 278, another 278. So it really sort of, every month she's been told, reminded, you own more of the company, you own more of the company. Now, Rowena is only going to benefit at an exit event here. So this company's, aiming to sell. But Rowena just wants to know what it's worth. So we've just done a valuation of 2.5 million. This bar will fill up as her options vest. It's just another little retention tool. So if we say the company's valued at 2.5 million and the company's not going to grow, 0% growth, after 3 years, Rowena's got all of her options. They are worth £10,998.45. Now, EMI, if you hold them for more than 2 years, you pay 10% capital gains. That means Rowena, on that 10,997, is going to walk away with £9,897.71. She's just saved over 3.5 grand in tax. But you're not giving anyone options, so the company does not grow. So what would be fair? 10%. After 5 years, their options are worth 17,710. 20%. Now our options are worth 27,361, which is 24,624 after tax. She's saving over 8,750 pounds. Or plan is you can sell this business for 20 million pounds. She helps you get to that 20 million pound valuation. Rowena's options are worth 87,956 pounds. 79k after tax. She's just saved over 28 grand in tax. That's where you get the motivation from. That's where you get the retention from. That's where you get the reward from. Now, bear in mind, Rowena owns 0.4398% of the company, and she's looking at a 79k after tax. That's the reward. That's the motivator. That's the sense of ownership. So any questions on any of that? How would sell to cover work in a private market, as an individual required to find the cash to cover the tax bill? There's no tax to pay until the option sale, unless they're exercisable options and you issue them below the value that the HMRC agree. So if let's say we value at £1 a share. Fast forward, you issue them at 0. And then you sell the company for 10. So I would get a 45 pence tax bill because you've given me something worth £1, and that's income tax. I'm left with a £9 gain on that. Or I will pay 10% capital gains tax on that £9 gain. So the only tax to be paid is upon exercise. There's no tax to pay. If it's an exit only, it's just taken out of the lump sum. So, that's why the exit only is incredibly popular, because it's incredibly clean, because they only become a shareholder for a nanosecond at the back end. If it's exercisable, then they have to buy the option. If you set the price at nominal value, they'll get a tax bill. Or if you set it at £1, they've got to pay £1 to become a shareholder. At that point, they're a shareholder. Whether they have the right to vote, the right to dividend, depends if we set up a different share class for it. But yeah, Alex, what I'd say is just book into my diary, and we'll actually go through your specific situation and cover all the possibilities. So, booked in for Monday. Brilliant. I will speak to you then. Is there any other questions? Nice and simple. Well, enjoy the rest of your week, everyone. And Alex, I'll speak to you on Monday, and hope to speak to the rest of you soon as well. Thank you very much.